Hey nerds, Todd Simmons coming back at you with a little more Toddomation. So at the end of the last video, we had the Codespaces up, we had your Containerlab running, and you should be able to access the switches right here from the webpage for Codespaces. If you were in there, you just went here, and we were in our switches at this point, right? So, but if you're like me, you like to use your own tools. So whereas being able to use Codespaces was great, but what if you actually want to use your own SSH program? Now, I prefer SecureCRT. That's the SSH program that I use. And I would like to use my SSH program, and it doesn't matter which one you use. It's all going to work the same way. But using your own tools is typically the best way to go. I'm going to show you how we can create a VPN tunnel today. And inside that VPN tunnel, you're going to be able to use your SSH client that you want to use. Now, I'm going to show you with SecureCRT just because that's what I prefer. You may have seen that there's some additional files that were already in the repo that you forked. Specifically, if you're still in your Codespaces here, looking at my screen, inside the basic lab folder that I have, you'll see this tunnel codespaces.sh. It's just a bash file that's going to run, but you're going to run it on your local machine, not in the cloud. And what this bash file is going to do is it's going to allow you, using the GH or the GitHub CLI command, to create that tunnel. And then inside that tunnel, you're going to be able to use your own SSH program. Specifically, I'm going to show you how to do it with SecureCRT, but it's the same steps regardless. What the VPN tunnel is actually doing is allowing you to reach Codespaces through the VPN tunnel, and inside the lab environment, which I'm going to click on this topolab.yaml file. Remember, we went through this file previously to set up the actual Codespaces, but notice these ports that I have listed right here. And what these ports are is it's the local port and the destination port. So I've set up on each one of these switches that we've created a port forwarding. So 2011 or 2011 is going to port forward to 22. 20112 is also going to port forward. So we can use those individual ports to link into port 22 on the actual device. Okay. So in order to do this, we have to set our VPN up. But if you don't have these ports specified, or if you're wondering which ports you're supposed to be using, these are them. You can change them to anything that you would like. You don't have to use port 2011, but obviously the SSH protocol does use port 22. So you're going to have to use the 22 here. This is the topolab.yaml. This is the actual file that creates the Containerlab for us, or the lab environment. I'll go over that in a different video when I'm talking about being able to customize your different labs. But I did want to show you that's where I'm getting those port numbers from. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my local repo here, which this is where I'm actually going to run it from. And I'm using my VS Code. So if I just, do ls to see where I'm at, I'm going to cd into my basic lab. Okay. And when I ls and look there, let's do a list. You see the tunnel Codespace SH. Now, we're going to run this locally because this is what's actually going to create that VPN connection for us. So looking at it just real quick, it's a bash script that I wrote. It's very, very simple, actually. It's going to use what we call the local host on our local machine, or 127.0.0.1, to be the receiver. And then it's going to VPN it up into Codespaces for us. So I'm not going to get too deep into this. The only piece that I'm going to show you right here is this port list. Now notice it's uncommented versus this port list that's very, very commented. These are the ports that I'm actually opening. Now, in the basic lab that we've already started with, we have 6 switches. And those 6 switches from the topo.cliab.yaml file, these were the ports that we specified. So in this port list with the bash file, these are the ports that the VPN is going to allow through once we create it. And all we have to do is just run this bash command here. So to get started, the one thing that you do have to know is you have to know the actual code space that we're going to go to. So once again, we're going to use the GH Codespace list command, and then that's going to show us which code spaces that we have running. So I'm just going to copy the name of the code space, just like we did before. Okay, I've got that now. And let's just make sure that I'm in the right directory. So I am in the basic lab directory. So I just have to run the tunnel Codespace. It's all ready for you, at least if you're on a Mac. Running this command and then specifying the name of the Codespace afterwards will immediately set it up. And as you can see, it's already running. It's now started, and we've got our device. So spine 1 is on 2011. Spine 2 is on 2012, just like it said in the file. So at this point, we have a VPN that's running into our Codespace. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my SecureCRT, and I'm going to create a new connection, which is very, very simply just create the new connection. Yes, we're going to use SSH, and it's actually to 127.0.0.1. It's going to send it to our local machine. Our local machine, I have the bash script that's running. It's listing on 127.0.0.1, but the port is not going to be 22. Remember, the destination port's 22, but the initial port would be 2011 or whatever port you specified. For the username, if you're still using the basic username or passwords that I provided, admin was available with no username or password. So I'm just going to continue. Now the session name, obviously we don't want to name it the localhost IP. So I'm going to call this spine 1 because that's where it's actually going. And then I'm going to hit done. So now over here inside my data center, I have spine 1. When I double click on it, oh, look, there's the connection. It's going to say it doesn't recognize the host key. Obviously we want to accept and save it. I'm going to bring this back into a normal size. And look, I am now in my spine 1 using the tools that I want to use. In this case, it's SecureCRT. So that's the quick and easy. The only thing that you have to do at this point is just start duplicating these. And this one I'm just going to call spine 2. Okay, now spine 2 is going to use 127.0.0.1, so that's not going to change, right? But then I am going to have to go into the properties, and instead of port 2011, now I'm using port 2012. And it's still going to 127.0.0.1. Don't let that confuse you. That's just the source of the tunnel. Okay. It's sending it up the tunnel in port 2011, 2012, and then the other ports that we specified. But Codespace is redirecting it to that device on port 22. So when I go to spine 2 here, look, I'm going to get the same thing. Hey, this is new. We want to accept and save just like you would with a new connection. And as you can see, now we're in spine 2. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Now you can use your own tools and you don't have to just use the web page. So I hope that works out for you. Let me know if you have any other questions about it. Until then, talk to y'all later, nerds.